Where flamingos fly. Words that have an almost magical quality and synonymous with visions of beauty like this. Yet to most of us, it remains something of a fairy tale, rather like where the rainbow ends, unaware that such splendor actually exists. Well, it does. At Lake Nakuru, situated in the Great Rift Valley of Kenya, we found what is probably the world's finest bird sanctuary, home of over 1 million flamingos. But then, when you've been to Kenya, practically nothing that nature has to offer impresses you again. The various royal national parks and national reserves are, of course, famous for their abundance of animal life and their rugged scenery, and, needless to add, a photographer's paradise. To dedicated men like Colonel Mervyn Cowie, CBE, has fallen the task of maintaining these vast territories, including such aspects as the preservation of wildlife and the natural splendor that is Africa. Today, the only shooting visitors do here, or for that matter want to do, is with a camera. And incidentally, the difference between one of these parks and a reserve is that on a national reserve, the reasonable need of the human being must take precedence over the animal. On the Amboseli Reserve, for example, the Maasai tribe live with their herds of cattle and goats with good neighbors like these. Each of the parks or reserves has its special features and attractions, and Amboseli is famous for its rhino and elephant population, although this view of them eating together is exceptionally rare. However, no matter how impressive those big beasts were, undoubtedly number one on the list of every visitor is the lion. And at the Nairobi National Park, less than 5 miles from the heart of the city, you can literally see the whites of their eyes. They look tame enough, but you're obliged to stay in your car. Yet Kenya is essentially a country of contrasts, with mountains like snow-capped Mount Kenya rising to over 17,000 feet above sea level, mile upon mile of undisturbed white beaches, of rugged plains and bush country. In fact, the terrain of several countries rolled into one. And just as magnificent, the result of man's endeavor, the airport at Nairobi, for example, with its novel world signpost illustrating the rapid expansion of its international services in recent years. Today, its modern air terminal and facilities compare with any in the world. The city of Nairobi itself, despite its modern buildings which continue to alter the skyline month by month, is still close to Africa. From time to time, hippos still stray in from the river valleys, and very occasionally, the odd lion or leopard. Although when you think only 60 years ago there was nothing here, it's not surprising. Today, not only is it the capital, but a very attractive city. Alongside these indications of progress are traditional crafts practiced by the various tribes of Kenya, although there's nothing specifically African about this. On the other hand, wood carving is practiced only by the Wakamba, who until very recently were noted more for their reputation as warriors and hunters. But having put all their energies into this more peaceful pursuit, the art has grown into a flourishing industry. Despite the development of the craft, the Wakamba still use primitive tools, such as the adze, a type of hammer for the general shape, and a small knife for the detail. The finished figures, usually in ebony or olive wood, are then wax polished. Another, even more important industry is the export of ivory. You can understand why when you learn that elephant tusks are currently worth nearly £1 per pound weight, and the larger ones weigh between 80 and 120 pounds. Getting away from the interior, Mombasa is the main port to Kenya and the center of a flourishing seaboard. When London was just a small village by the edge of a river, dhows came running down on the trade winds into Mombasa from the ancient civilizations of Arabia, Persia, and India. Perhaps more than anything else, the African contrast is symbolized by the elephant. Hence this remarkable arch erected to greet Princess Margaret in 1956. There's much to see here, much to do, but what better than to relax with an ice cold drink and listen to the Indian Ocean just the other side of the beach. Big game fish abound and record catches have been landed. How about trying to bring aboard a 1,300-pound marlin? This is one place where even a fisherman doesn't need to exaggerate. Where the sea is clear and deep, you'll always get skin diving, and here the exciting colors of the seabed can really be appreciated. If you want to swim, don't waste time with cars or trains. Take a plane and land on any one of the magnificent beaches. A modern country with modern ideas. But long ago, before even the first recorded expedition of this coast in 500 BC, the African lived on this continent. The rhythm and dancing is as old as the civilization itself.